What's up, ladies and gentlemen of the internet? It's another week gone by, and it's another episode of the Media Clash podcast. I'm your host, Wayne, as always joined by
Paul.
And we're going to talk about movies. It's something we haven't talked about in a while. So we're going to talk about movies and TV and some things like that, because when we started this all those years ago, we started out at the end of the year. Our first episode, it was the end of the year when we did the first episode. With the first episode, and usually the last episode every year at that point, was about Star Wars.
Yes.
And
How
they
awful.
haven't been giving us a lot of Star Wars over the last couple of years.
I mean, technically, we can talk
towards
about,
the end of the year. So
we got Star Wars now, and then we have to wait until the end of May. Then we can talk about Star Wars again.
good Star Wars.
Hopefully.
Unlike the way we started out on bad Star Wars.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, we could get right into it. We could talk about the book of Boba Fett, a show that the majority of people are complaining about. I found absolutely nothing wrong with it. Like, I loved it. I don't know what people were complaining. I mean, I know what they were complaining about. I just don't know what people wanted. Because I think like, again, this is a classic case of overhyping yourself into wanting something that was never gonna happen. Like, they saw that one scene of Boba Fett in The Mandalorian going ape shit, and it's like, oh, that's what we're gonna get the whole time. Like, you can't have that every episode. You can't explain every story detail in the first episode.
Well, I think it's what a lot of people didn't like was the flashback stuff. Like, most of the episodes were flashbacks with the Tusken Raiders.
I mean, I don't even think that. I think, honestly, the people who I've listened to like the flashbacks hated the modern stuff because it didn't connect to anything. I'm like, do you not know how stories are told? Like,
yeah, you had to wait until the last episode to actually connect.
To get the payoff. Like,
Yeah.
The man came out of that Sarlacc a changed person. And then being with the Tuskens changed him even more.
It's something, I guess, being slowly digested for years and years and years in the belly of a Sarlacc.
I mean, I don't think he was in there that long.
No, he wasn't in that long, but that was what C-3PO told him.
He would be.
That was the job of the Hutt
clearly,
thing.
that stormtrooper that was in there.
Yeah.
Was in there for a while.
It's also the fact of he somehow completely forgot he was wearing his armor when he finally got Slave One back, but it's not called Slave One anymore.
No, they call it just by what the actual classification of the ship is.
Firestar?
But he doesn't even call it that. Like, everyone, like, he didn't
No,
call it.
he called it Firestar.
Did he?
Yeah. He said, get to the Firestar when he was in... I think it was when he first got it from Jabba's palace.
I don't know. I'd have to go back and listen to it.
But,
again, I mean, here's the thing. Why would he continue to call it Slave One when he was literally a slave? Like,
well, it's his dad's ship. I think.
It's his dad's ship. Yes,
it.
like you do. But again, Boba was never a slave.
Yeah.
And like he was one, and went through some shit.
See, here's the problem. You go back. Boba Fett only has like 5 lines.
I mean, he's only in the original trilogy for like 4 minutes and something.
Yeah. And he was super fucking popular off of that. He had more time in the cartoon that was technically his first appearance before the films.
Because, again, people overhype. Like, that's a classic case of you hyping something up that you know nothing about. Just like everyone was hyped up about Captain Phasma, the Silver Stormtrooper. Oh, it's going to be like Boba Fett. No one told you Phasma was going to be important. Now, granted, if you listen to all the rumors and the
scuttlebutt,
the unsubstantial, the unconfirmed stories that yes, the trilogy was supposed to be very different. That sequel trilogy was supposed to be very different, and Finn was supposed to be like a major main character, and Phasma would have played a bigger part. But then they changed it because they gave individual directors fair shake. because
No, they just gave it to that one director, and then JJ had.
Well, yeah, but I mean, no, because the third one, like he put out his storyboards and like his concept art, and that third movie was going to be completely different. Like that was the Star Wars we wanted to see.
Yeah, that was
from Gareth Edwards, like the Coruscant fighting, and the whole battalion of stormtroopers against like First Order troopers and stuff like that. But they were like, no, we're just not gonna. It could because again, Rian Johnson just completely fucked everybody over with that second movie.
You get a kid dancing with a broom in a fucking barn.
I mean, I remember like my post comes up all the time, like and every year, and the here's your memories. My whole like this is your 3 main characters for your Rian Johnson trilogy. I guarantee that's what it would have been if they'd actually let him do it.
There was so the book of Boba Fett, I did think it was like the first couple of episodes was a bit slow, but it's one of those as soon as Mando came back into the picture, like then each episode got better and better when he came back.
I don't find the first ones like I think I want to know exactly how much like COVID protocols kind of prohibited people from filming, and
Mandalorian 2 was like directly in the middle of the outbreak.
What was the filming like for like certain things? Like my only gripe literally with anything that they shot in this was the car chase bit.
Oh yeah.
That when it cut to wide, it looked so slow. And I think that has a lot to do with where they filmed it and how they filmed it. Like I don't find anything wrong with those characters because I mean, I'm like entrenched in Star Wars lore. Like I played like the Old Republic, and that was a thing. Like the humans that modified themselves is a thing in Star Wars lore. Is it Robert Rodriguez being a little too on the nose, making them look exactly like, the 60s mod squad people? Maybe. Yeah. But again, Imperials all had British accents. Like, if the original trilogy, Imperials had British accents. So here is clearly a group of people not from Tatooine, all speaking with British accents. So clearly they're not native. They're not native to the Outer Rim. They're like Inner Rim, No,
the girl said she was born and raised.
She grew up, but she's got a British accent. So clearly I would say, even if she was born and raised on fucking Tatooine, I guarantee her parents are Imperial. At this point, like, because half the other population doesn't have the British accent. Like, that's how the lore justifies that. Like, these are like fucking inner core, like core world, like gutter punks. We see them in the New Orleans. They used to be all over. The fucking trust fund babies that would come and live like fucking bums.
Oh yeah. Did you see that homeless village they came and raided them and they finally tore it down?
Where at? Underneath
that bridge on Claiborne behind the Burger King. I drove past and there was like a cleanup crew basically shoveling everything in the back of a truck, and then there was like two cop cars there.
No, I mean I haven't been driving downtown lately. I know some are like I've seen the ones I usually see are the ones over by the convention center. By the interstate, by the convention center, when we leave the Hilton to go up on the interstate. But I mean, they do it from time to time. They go and they I don't think they don't mess with the ones that have those big stupid square, like the ones that they clearly got handed out.
Yeah.
But
there was you can definitely tell, like, watching this series, that slowly all the characters from Clone Wars or Bad Batch or
dude, because Dave Filoni's like, this is my Star Wars.
Yeah, slowly all those characters. Because when Bane,
Cad Bane showed up.
Cad Bane showed up, I know who he is. I've never seen Clone Wars, but I know who that person is. I know he's the bounty hunter. And the fact that I'm guessing he's super old because the way they were talking.
Yes, so Cad Bane was stealing Force-sensitive children for Palpatine during the Clone Wars.
Okay. And
he actually got into it with a young Boba. So just because Dave Filoni can do this, Dave in the last season of Clone Wars that got, not the one that got made on Disney Plus, the original last season of Clone Wars that got canceled, there was unfinished episodes, and there was going to be an episode where Cad Bane, a whole slew of it was a couple of episode arc where Cad Bane and Boba were doing things. And it ends with them in a duel, just like it was in this show. And they both basically draw on each other at the same time and shoot one another. And that's where the dent in Boba's helmet comes from. And when you see Cad Bane hit the ground and his hat comes off, it comes off for a reason, because he's got this big metal plate on his head, which is where Boba shot him. Because they both went to shoot each other in the head in that duel.
Yeah, because I was thinking of like Clone Wars and stuff.
And then he's not dead because you can hear his like fucking respirator still beeping.
Because that's what I thought. It's like
you hear the respirator beeping when they go above him and they kind of pull out, and you see the light flashing and you hear it beeping. Like, he's not dead. That's just one thing. Like, Filoni's not gonna kill his own characters off like that. It's not gonna happen. And I kind of agree with Screen Crush, where like Filoni and Favreau are just building their own interstitial like episode, between 6 and 7 of like, all right, this is what happened in this universe at this point. We're gonna make the First Order make sense the way we want to by using like established lore and things like that. We're just gonna make this big huge. Because the rumor is now that people are seeing this is like Feige's producing a Star Wars movie. And who better to produce a movie that has all these characters in it for like some big final blow off than Kevin Feige?
Here's the thing.
And people think it's going to be them versus the Chiss Ascendancy in the Outer Rim, which is why then the First Order was able to stay in the Outer Rim and
basically. We got the Tatooine Avengers on this series.
I mean, it's the Tatooine, but I mean, it
was the fucking Avengers.
I mean, it's a movie that was full of Western fucking like it was a Western. It's fucking 310 to Yuma. It's like all these fucking Westerns rolled into one. And
it's kind of a hint of Seven Samurai.
It's Seven Samurai again, yeah, because like. He's not, all right, I'm not going to deal drugs, but I'm going to fucking run protection, and I don't care about all these other fucking illegal things going on. I just don't want drugs. He's the fucking he's Don Corleone.
Yeah.
And again, like, he could, like, and people are like, well, what was the point of all this? I'm like, because it's a show, and it's called long-term storytelling. So when they do a second season of the Book of Boba Fett, like, he's going to be doing something else.
He literally said at the end of the episode, maybe I'm not cut out to be a leader. Then
and then we cut to fucking Raylan
Holland,
Cobb Vance, getting cyborged out.
Oh, we get Justified in space. I'm all for it. Give him his own
show.
Dude,
when that first episode, when that episode opened, and he was like, I'm gonna go fucking this. It not even like I'm gonna go. Boba went and took down an entire train of spice. Cobb goes and takes down some fucking low-level drug dealers in the middle of a field. It's very justified. And he'd have beat Cad if it wasn't for his fucking deputy. Yeah. Because he drew first.
I'm waiting for one of these episodes, or one of these series, to have fucking Dash Rendar show up.
Dash was
Shadows of the Empire.
Yeah, no, but I'm trying to was he was in Shadows? So all right,
Yeah.
so this would be the time period that he could show up.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know. Technically, in the books, maybe they killed him off. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, but
to
I mean,
him
like,
after
no, he's
Empire.
not in the new canon, so they can do whatever they want with him.
Yeah.
Because like people are like trying to poke at Filoni and Feige to bring in bring Starkiller in
Really?
from Force Unleashed. Like if anybody's gonna bring in a character like that, it would be them. Like they're not gonna do it in the movies. Just do it on the TV show.
At first, when he said, when he told him it's like that you're gonna have to go to the Batha tank, and he said it's already occupied. For a split second, I thought maybe it was Bane. That maybe he's gonna keep him alive because you know how he showed mercy to the Wookiee that somehow gets shot 1,000 times but didn't die.
Because he's a fucking badass Wookiee. And notice, like, look, like that. We always make that bandolier type armor is always been made fun of on He-Man walks around with this stupid thing and like as long as we're shooting it's covering some pretty vital areas. He was taking shots in the fucking bandoliers and shit. But he's a big fucking Wookiee. Yeah, he's old as shit too.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you're gonna see him the connecting tissue is gonna be he's gonna be in Obi-Wan. Because he fought Obi-Wan. That's where the scar on his head comes from. Like he's got a scar over his right eye.
Yeah.
His left eye. And it comes from fucking Obi-Wan's lightsaber.
It's the whole fact of Boba Fett went and got a fucking Rancor and rode a Rancor
I mean, he said he was gonna do it.
to fight fucking battle droids. Giant battle droids.
I mean, that's just like an homage to his first appearance in the cartoon. The holiday
in the
special.
cartoon. Yeah.
And he's a fucking the whole Mandalorian thing is they used to ride crate dragon, the fucking
Yeah, the dragons that Mandalorian killed. Was that it?
no, that's a crate dragon. They call I think they're called something else. I can't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, the whole thing is they rode these big huge animals back in ancient Mandalore, and he wanted to do it again. He goes, I've ridden bigger, but I want to ride this.
Oh, did you know? So when Luke Skywalker first appeared on Mandalorian to take Grogu away, the special effects was pretty bad.
Yes, the ones for this was the guy they actually hired off of YouTube.
Yes. So a guy on YouTube basically retouched it up to make it look 100 times better, and Disney basically said, "All right, you're hired."
Which is I like what Jeremy said. If this was Nintendo, they'd have sent them a cease and desist and said "fuck off."
Yeah.
And if this was old
Disney?
No, if this was old Lucasfilm,
yeah,
they might have told him the same thing because the first. So when cameras became consumer level and special effects programs became consumer level, there were two categories of fan film. Highlander, because everyone wanted to do the electricity effect that was in After Effects for the quickening. That was a thing. But then that same effect was the Force lightning from Star Wars, and you could make lightsabers. So fan films came out of the ass of Star Wars and Highlander. And then at some point, well, not at some point, I can tell you exactly when it happened. When Disney bought Lucasfilm, they could put the kiboshes on high-end Star Wars fan films. But this was wait a minute. This dude clearly was able to do it. We'll hire him. So that means to me that's a clear shift in the thing. Because again, like I said, after Disney bought them, they were very protective of that IP, and it's I think I think that's kind of blew up in their face too at that point because they caught a lot of flack because there used to be a fan film festival every year while Lucasfilm was still an independent thing.
I mean, some of the biggest downloaded, pirated fucking videos when that was first a thing was like, what, Troops?
Troops was like the big... Troops is like the big one that everyone knows.
Yeah.
But then there's a lot like...
There was a Clerks one, I think.
Yeah, but I mean, that one was like... There's like other ones that are like really... Because people got like... People were making some deep shit with fucking... with Star Wars fan films. There's like... My favorite one is... It's called Art of the Saber, and it's... Somebody's reading an actual letter from the Civil War over like footage of like like a Sith and a Jedi fucking going at it. And it's basically, I think it's a letter supposed to be from the Jedi, and the Jedi ends up dying in the fan film. Like he gets cut down. So it's the whole like it's set to somebody reading a letter from a Union soldier to his wife.
Ken Burns documentary.
Basically.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, again, like I can't find really any, like the biggest thing I had was, what's sad is it's clearly you can tell what episodes were done by Robert Rodriguez, and those are the weakest episodes. Even the finale is, the finale is a Robert Rodriguez episode. And it is very much, I don't know if it's the constraints of filming on the volume that you had to split everybody up. You couldn't have like big set pieces because you weren't out filming, say like in the desert on a set. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because it was very Desperado, El Mariachi, like... And I get it. Robert Rodriguez is a super fan. Like, he is. Like, everybody making this show is a super fan of fucking Star Wars. And it comes through because it all looks so good. Like, even Bryce Dallas Howard's episode was probably the best one.
Yeah, because it was all Mandalorian.
But, I mean, it's still, like, from a storytelling, like, direction, like, it was just the best paced, best episode.
Yeah. Basically, that was... I've seen a lot of people comparing this as like, oh, this is Mandalorian season 2.5.
I don't even...
It sets up Mandalorian season 3.
I just think, again, because these are called... Like, literally, the Mandalorian, every episode's called a different chapter. And this is just like... This is if George R.R. Martin... You know, and he makes like a supplemental book in between the bigger books.
Yeah. Like,
that's what this is. This is... And again, when you're writing a book, you make chapters about other characters and how they're gonna... Because again, here's the thing. People want to complain, oh, there's 2 episodes and Boba Fett's not even in it in his show. But if The Mandalorian would have just showed up with no explanation whatsoever, and then Grogu shows up in the finale with no explanation whatsoever, people would have been pissed.
It was like, where the fuck did you get a Naboo starfighter from?
I mean, I think that, like, I think that would have been a really awesome Easter egg if they would have been Anakin's, and but it wasn't. The markings are different. Like, it actually had the serial number that would be on a plane or a boat, because technically spaceships are like classified like boats, so there's like a registration number on it, and it's not the same one that was on Anakin's. But I agree. I think it was Screen Crush that said this. It would have been awesome if it would have been the exact same one, and it had been like some collector found out Anakin was like from Tatooine and tracked down his Naboo starfighter and was like in the collection, like, because again, like, we have that shit in real life where people go nuts and collect shit like that. Why wouldn't that happen in this other fictionalized version of existence? Because people are like, oh, well, we don't like it when shit looks too much like the real world. Like, but it's based on the like. Why is no one complaining that Boba, like Jabba and Boba, are clearly called, given the have the title of what a Japanese a title from feudal Japan? Like, why is no one complaining about that? But we're gonna complain that the mods were riding around on fucking tricked out Vespas. Like, pick your back. Like, you can't have it one way and not the other. Like, if you're gonna allow some bleed over, then you have to allow. Because like people complained about the prequels with the '50s diner that Obi-Wan goes to find out about the dart from, or the sports bar that had all the fucking. Why is it hard to believe that there's some version of a sports bar in another on another planet?
Yeah, you don't think there's betting?
Like, you don't think there's like sports, like leisure things? But I mean, I do think that's just humans' inability to think beyond themselves, because it's hard and they don't want to think that way. But it's, again, like, I loved it. I wish there was more episodes, because I just love all the Star Wars stuff. Like this stuff, right? Like the Clone Wars, Rebels, all this stuff is like my favorite stuff. Like, and that and the far prequel stuff.
It's the same thing of the Star Wars universe right now, between the movies and the shows and stuff like that, is exactly like the DC universe. How the movies suck, but
the TV shows,
but the
are
TV
better.
shows and like DC, the cartoons are 100 times better.
Well, and if you look at it, it's the DC stuff that's really good. It sticks to the source material.
Yes, the cartoon stuff. Yeah.
Even the TV shows where like they've gotten, some of the shows have gotten really, like, I stopped watching Batgirl when it went on break, because I'm like, I can't, like, y'all are just spinning your wheels until the show is, because it's done. Y'all are just trying to find some, like, y'all are filling out the end of the season. But even that stuff kind of sticks to source material way closer than the movies did. So it's better because, again, you have these stories that were written by really good writers over fucking decades, that is really good, and people are, translating it better than they're doing on the fucking big screen just for a money grab.
It's the I'm interested to see where they go with this. If they keep it as Boba Fett, do you start a new book with somebody else?
Well, no, I mean, I think you keep him as the main character, and then it's about it. You know who Boba Fett is. Like, at the end of this show, we've gotten, all right, Boba Fett is still a badass.
Yeah,
he's adjusted the way he fights because he's older, but he's still a badass. Now he's just has a crew. Like, why is it hard to accept that Boba Fett has all these people with him when he's literally a clone trooper?
It's the fact
he was raised around teams of himself. And I'm just like, I want to see, like, people like, oh, this is dumb, where's it go now? Like, he has a sister that we don't know if he knows about that came out of the Bad Batch. Finnick knows who she is, so I want to know if that came up at some point. That's a whole, like, who do you get to play a female version of Boba Fett? Like, you have to go find you a Maori woman. Like, you have to go, like, another, like, minority actress is going to get a shot, like an older actress, because she should be. Is she as old? Like, I don't remember if she's as old as he is or not. She was. Yeah, I guess she should be. She should be about as old as he is, because she was around at the end of the Clone Wars. But again, they technically, I wonder if they could go. So 20. I'd have to go back and look at the timeline, but I don't think Boba should be as old as he actually Tamar Morrison is.
I mean, how old is Boba Fett supposed to be? Like 50s?
No, I don't even think he's supposed to be that old.
40s?
Maybe? Because he was probably...
How he gained weight when...
That's what I'm saying.
Inside
Like,
the Sarlacc pit?
It's weird because...
He was skinny when he went in, and then he came out, he
yeah,
was
he
heavier.
came out, he's big, yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, you could kind of get away with, like, I guess, making him look a little older by, like, saying, like, oh, no, the back that healed all the, like, scars, but it left him looking older.
Yeah.
But I'd have to see the timeline of when, like, Yavin is, when... Because you figure from the end of the Clone Wars to A New Hope is only, like, 20 years.
Yes.
And Boba is only, like... 10 at most when his dad dies, because he's younger than Anakin, so that's 30.
Oh, he's probably a good 8 to 10 years younger than Anakin.
That's what I'm saying. So like he's like maybe 10 at the end of the no, because he dies when Anakin's like probably 15 or 6. No, he dies when Anakin's probably like around 17. And he's probably like, yeah, so he's like almost, yeah, he's like half as old. He's like half as old as, he's half fucking Anakin's age when his dad dies. He's like 8 to 10. You're right, 8 to 10. The Clone Wars goes on for another few years, so 13 at the most when the Clone Wars ends. Plus 20, so 33 when A New Hope starts. And I don't think between A New Hope and now it's been but maybe 10 years. So he should only be in like his 40s. I'm sure somebody on the internet has come up with the appropriate age. How old should Boba Fett be?
It's also, why do you have to kill the fucking the 2 guards? Everybody else survived.
I mean,
but we have to kill those 2 off.
It was... I think it was done because, you know, they just...
Implied that the others were gonna die because the fucking...
Somebody had to. Like, you had to make it look like somebody was gonna die. And if anybody's gonna die, it's these...
Gem and the holograms. Fucking, they didn't die.
I mean, again, I don't have a problem with the mods. Like...
That was the doctor, right? The one who, for some reason, had a blowtorch on his hand at the end.
No, that was his. That was the heat scalpel. But yeah, he's got a robot arm with
Yeah, but that was the doctor that.
Yeah, that's the doctor that fixed
from
Fennec.
earlier. Okay, that's what I thought it was.
So, but I mean, again, like that's the one thing we see. Like the only people we've ever seen with like robotic limbs and shit has been Anakin,
Luke,
and Luke.
Most of Darth Vader, which is also
that's what I'm saying. Anakin and Luke are the only ones we've ever seen running around with openly robotic parts. I thought it was cool to actually have like other humans with replaced pieces.
It was the fucking cyberpunk gang.
But again, like, so we exist in a world where we're accepting of Anakin having multiple limbs replaced. Luke has a friggin' fake arm. Yes, it makes perfect sense that we literally have people who go and get stupid shit done to their bodies because they want to in real life. Why wouldn't it happen in fiction?
The one thing I hated about this show,
during the events of Book of Boba Fett, the titular bounty hunter is estimated to be about 41. He is my age. That is a haggard 41.
I mean, being in a fucking Sherlock digestive system.
He was 36 in Return of the Jedi, and he was with the Tuskens for years.
For a couple
supposedly. So yeah, like 40, like yeah. So, I mean, he's not supposed to be that old.
Yeah.
They're playing it up because Cad says he's an old man, but I'm like,
yeah.
he's not really supposed to be, and he wasn't supposed. Now, they could always say, like, they lied to Django.
Oh, about his...
because Boba was supposed to be unaltered, so he should have aged at a normal rate.
Yeah.
So they could always come out and say that, no, the Kaminoans lied, and he has some form of accelerated aging. Because they retconned Rex into the Battle of Endor.
What, in Clone Wars or?
Yeah, Rex from the Clone Wars. Like, they retconned him into Endor. Like, he's the old man with the beard in Last Jedi. I mean, in The Return of the Jedi.
I would have to go back and see.
Like, he's on Endor. Like, one of the rebels that's attacking the shield generator.
Okay, so it's just like, we don't have a backstory for this
in
one
old,
guy.
Well, no, in old canon, he had a name. Like, he was because in old canon, everybody had a name and a backstory.
One guy was fucking Ice Cream Maker Man.
That dude is, like, blown the fuck up.
Yeah. There's fucking squads of people.
The running of the Wilbur. So whatever his name is, they call it the running of the whatevers. But no, so, like, that dude had a name and a backstory, but when they got rid of Legend, the canon, like, they retconned that as being Rex, and then even in some of the ancillary Rebel stuff, the last season of Clone Wars that came on Disney Plus, like the last episode when you see him, he's in like the getup that he would be on Endor.
Well,
which I'm fine with. Like, dude, that's the kind of stuff that Star Wars fandom gave that dude a life, and he was given life and ancillary stuff.
Yeah.
But that's the kind of characters, like, all right, if this gets big, then you can go pick and choose and place people from, like, other stuff into it and go, oh, no, Rex was there on Endor. Rex didn't die. Like, that's fine. Like, I don't have a problem with that. Because it's one of those things like, oh, well, then why didn't this happen if this person was here before him? Well, because we wrote this after this was done, so we have to fit it in. That's how it works.
So the one problem I had with this is that Mando didn't go get Bill Burr. I would love to see Bill Burr come back.
I think that is
to go get back up.
I think that's the kind of things we'll see
in Mandalorian.
And even in the Mandalorian, I think Bill Burr is going to come back. Bill Burr, that is somebody that can show up. They may redo the Rangers of the New Republic show to be some kind of weird ensemble.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that show.
Since it's not gonna, it's still on. It still technically hasn't been canceled. It's just on hiatus until they figure out what they're gonna do.
Yeah,
like they could redo that entire show to be like, because again, because I love the dude who plays the X-wing pilot.
Oh, the guy. He showed up in the Mandalorian episode.
Yeah, the guy, the dad from Kim's Convenience. Like he's awesome. He's like a legitimate like this is what happens when you get legitimate fans of things. Like he's a legitimate fan. He didn't need a costume. He had one.
Yeah.
Already, a perfect 501st graded flight suit. Or whatever the Rebel version of the 501st is. I don't know if it's the I don't know if the 501st does both, but I know.
Yeah, they do. They do fucking Empire.
But that's what I'm saying. Like they're Imperial. The 501st is the Imperials, but I don't know if there's like the
Rebel Alliance,
a Rebel Alliance version of it, or if it's
they do everything.
Yeah, so I think he has they
do the Rebels and the Empire.
Yeah,
both.
so he already had a certified Rebel flight suit beforehand, before they came to him and was like, we want to put you in the show.
Yeah. It's
but yeah, I was saying you just put him in because he said in the show, his character says when he's talking to Caro in that episode of Mandalorian, there's something going on here. And the people in the core worlds don't care. So he knows that there's something going on. So I think that was I think that was originally what Rangers of the New Republic was always going to be about, was like the shadow building of the First Order out of Imperial remnants in the Outer Rim. And like people knew it was happening, but the bureaucracy just never believed them until it was too late. You could still do that, but now you could have like, because again, Boba's taken over the fucking Hutt space, so you could have like an uneasy alliance between these like Outer Rim rebel like alliance pilots, Republic pilots, and the fucking and Boba.
Or you can have the Hutts. Now that the spice...
Yeah, because now that the Syndicate's gone, I guarantee you the next season of the fucking Boba Fett, the twins would show back up.
Yeah,
and there is out there, like, it's not even just in old, like, this is in the Aftermath books where Cobb Vanth was introduced. The son of one of Jabba's sons is alive in that town. They're hiding him and raising him in that town.